Hey guys, welcome back to Nerd Locker Podcast, your entertainment podcast for everything movies, television, video games, and more. My name's Adam.
And I'm Oliver.
And today we are going over the mid-season finale of Invincible called It's Been a While.
Yeah.
So, episode 4, we open up where we left off with the last one, where Mark gets there with the Viltrumite, or the Thraxtons, and sees Nolan there. Viltrumites come in later. And it seems like it's going to be like a big like standoff, and then Mark ends up just hugging Nolan. And I kind of saw that happening, but then afterwards Nolan's like, oh, I'm going to help you out, or I need your help. And he's like, fuck you.
That was great.
Yeah. Just
that was
like,
great.
fuck
It just
you.
flies off.
And Nolan tries to make his point, saying like, hey, like, I wouldn't ask you here if you couldn't do that. And Mark's like, no, I'm not going to do it, and tries to fly off. To which Nolan follows him, saying, where are you going to go? It's millions of light years away.
Yeah, and you don't know the way. You're terrible with directions.
Yeah, so like, I'll get your ship back. Just help me. So he goes and gives him 5 minutes, to where Nolan starts to explain to him that the Thraxton, that he married one of the Thraxtons, which ended up, so we see basically, so it opens up, hold on, let's go back a little bit. Opens up and we get a montage of after Nolan beat the shit out of Mark. We see that he flew through space for who knows how long, enough to grow a beard, and was about to kill himself in a black hole, where the Thraxtons, 3 of them plus a small little Andressa, is about to fly into it and die. He saves them, brings them back there, and then they just keep him there. So now we flash forward to where Andressa is older and married to Nolan, and they had a kid. Where we find out that these Thraxtons have 1 year to live. So this all happened within a year. That Andressa grew up, fell in love, married, and had a kid.
What in the fuck?
Because it's only been 6 months.
Jesus.
At least on Earth time, you know? So it's just really weird to how that's going out. So as he's talking to him, Mark basically says, no, you're not going to throw this on me. Like, I don't care if you have a baby and a kid, or like a baby and a kid, a wife and a baby. I don't care. And as he's telling him, like, come on, you know that you want to help people. Why would I ask you? And they're about to talk about training when the Viltrumites get there. And shit goes down. But before we get to the shit going down, we go back to the two other subplots. The first one is Mark's mom is still walking the streets, no shoes now.
Yeah,
disgusting.
And like been there for like, you can tell it's like tattered feet.
Yeah. And she ends up going like just through the same thing that Nolan did, which is just like going through all the emotions. And she eventually gets home and decides that she is going to start throwing out some of the photos. And as she's going through the photos, Art comes over, Mark Hamill, and basically tells her, you didn't need Nolan. You've done it all by yourself, and you are doing great as a mom. So, like, continue to do that. So she decides that she's going to stick up for herself finally, and, like, realize she doesn't need Nolan because she never needed him to begin with. So now we jump back to Nolan with Mark and fighting the Viltrumites. So as the Viltrumites get down there, they try to get... Mark takes Andressa to hide in some kind of, like, safe house cave thing. While Nolan stays to fight. So as Mark gets there, he's talking to her. She explains how she fell in love with him, and that she wasn't trying to step on his mom's toes and everything, and that Nolan does care about Mark. But as she's saying that, they get interrupted by Lucan, one of the Viltrumites, who looks like Steve Harvey on roids.
Basically.
Yeah. And starts beating the shit out of Mark because he threatens Andressa and the baby. And as Mark is like getting his ass handed to him, here comes Nolan to save the day and ends up beating the shit out of Lucan and slicing open his stomach and fucking impaling him with some kind of rock. So it seems like he's dead. So they go off to go fight the other two when Andressa goes further into the cave. And so they go to fight the other two, and we see all the Thraxtons have been slaughtered that were there. And the 2 Viltrumites come down. They start attacking Nolan and Mark. And just a nasty-ass battle,
It was ridiculous.
Dude. Just boom, 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 boom. And at some point when Mark is fighting, he can't, like, kill Thula. So Nolan says like you need to fight as if you want to kill. This is not like Earth. You don't have to hold back. Like do it or they will kill you and everyone else here, and then more than likely Earth.
Mhm.
So like fucking do it. And so Mark starts actually fighting, but then it ends up getting stabbed, really badly hurt, and he's about to get killed when he calls for his dad, who his dad just moments earlier crushed the other Viltrumite's head, just like
So
punching
cool.
it in, breaking his skull, kind of like there's a lot of Walking Dead references.
So cool.
And as that's happening, he's about to get his throat slit. Nolan saves him and like just elbow checks this bitch like
For real.
in the
In the
jaw,
jaw.
and just breaks her jaw, kills her. And then as soon as he's about to help Mark, here comes fucking Steve Harvey holding his guts, kicks Nolan in the back, breaks his back, and then says it's done to whoever it is. They both pass out, and now you have all three Viltrumites right here. And then we flash back. This whole time we had what's his name? The one that was cloned. I forget.
Mueller? Oh, you're talking about Donald.
Donald, yeah. So Donald has been going through this whole thing of like trying to figure out why Mark's mom reacted so weird to him, and he goes over to their house and doesn't find them, and then he looks across the street and finds in the rubble a pair of his old glasses from his past life. Goes back to headquarters, tries to look up some footage under him, can't find it, gets under Cecil's, which
For
doesn't
some
make
reason,
sense,
I don't understand.
and sees himself getting killed by Nolan and then blowing it up and killing himself and hopefully Nolan, which didn't. And so he starts figuring this out. So he goes and uses a knife to cut open into himself. And when he cuts into himself, he sees that he bleeds, so he thinks he's okay. But then he looks at the knife and it's
dented.
bent.
Yeah.
So something, either he hit something or it's hard to get through his skin. We don't really know what's going on.
I think it's definitely
there.
something to just hard to penetrate his skin. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. And
unless he's like a cyborg.
We'll see. I think it has something to do with Cecil. Like he had Cecil's information, which I think that deals with it. We'll see what ends up happening. And the other remaining subplot, actually, let's wrap up what happens to Viltrumite. So as Mark regains consciousness, he sees that Lucan's getting taken away from the other Viltrumites, and so is Nolan. And Nolan tells him, "Remember all the good I did, and read my books." Which we flash over to Nolan's mom, and she's getting rid of the books.
Nolan's mom.
I mean, Mark's mom. And she's getting rid of the books and telling Cecil, like, I don't want this money. Give it to the victims in Chicago. They need it more. And she throws the books away. So now Mark can't read these said books as of right now. And then he gets confronted by General, I forget his name, but he was voiced by Clancy Brown. And he tells him, like, you're going to do what your father did and prepare Earth for our rule, and we'll come back and figure it out with you. So that's where we leave off with that. And then also we had this weird random subplot with the Molar twins.
Yeah, that was so odd.
And they clone themselves, or he clones himself, and then he realizes since he has a half-burnt body, he knows he's the original clone. And so he's just like bossing himself around, acting superior, which does not work well for him because then his clone just ends up poisoning and killing him.
Yeah, what the heck was
and just
what
doing
was
it again?
That?
It just didn't want they needed to be treated as equals, not superior.
Guess,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
I mean,
that's why they said like no one can know.
Weird
the
though.
Original.
Weird.
So weird. But we'll get into our thoughts and reviews and what we are looking forward to. But first, here is a word from our sponsor.
Thank you for BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you can just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to a therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional cost. With BetterHelp, you can get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked for you. Any scheduling flexibility and at a more affordable price. Just get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/nerdlocker. The link is going to be right down below in the description.
And we're back. So, what are your thoughts on...
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the episode. I liked everything from beginning to end. I even liked some of the things that they brought back, like they raised the volume in certain scenes from the beginning with the flashbacks and stuff.
Yeah.
I like the whole sequence of him flying. And I like how they matched it with what is the mom's name? I forget the mom's name.
So
Mom.
Yep.
That was pretty neat. And the both coming to like the realization that they're gonna kill themselves. That was so dark.
Yeah.
But the whole episode, honestly,
Yeah.
I
Black
wanna
hole or
say-
jump off bridge. Like
I know.
damn.
And one needed a distraction, the other one was stronger than the other. Whoa.
Whoa,
Good job, Mark
yeah.
Hamill. The animation was great. People got fucked up, which was so
Dude.
weirdly satisfying.
So much blood.
So much. One of the Viltrumites you mentioned was voiced by what's her name?
Greg Griffin. I'm pretty sure they didn't mention it. That I think it sounded like Azula.
It did.
I think it's Azula. Maybe it's Greg Delisle that I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm getting it confused.
I don't know.
But it sounded like Azula.
And then
So
the
I
other
don't know.
Viltrumite was voiced by Chris. I can never pronounce his last name, but he plays the robot head guy that was in season 1.
Yeah.
He's in everything. But the voice acting was awesome, especially when he grips Mark's throat. And he's like,
Yeah.
"Why do I feel like this?" I'm like, "Yo, I want to see Simmons in the studio
Yep.
so bad
Same.
and have him do this."
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give it a 10, dude. It was so fun. I was entertained from like beginning to
Same.
end.
Yeah. I'll give it a 10. It just the nonstop action, and the plot development.
Yeah, I
too.
know.
It was
We
like
got a lot
nothing-
going on.
Yeah. There was nothing. It just made me more mad that we had to wait. I think let's hope. The very most like February we gotta wait. Like
Hopefully, all they said is confirmed for early 2024, right?
yeah. I mean it's already done and shot and filmed and like done
Just
like
need
animated and stuff. It just needs to be released. So we'll see. Yeah.
Oh man.
But other than that, like, what are we gonna talk about next? We'll see. We don't have much. So after this, guys, we're gonna talk about a lot more random news. The next one this week, we'll be talking about some things that happened relating to Scream. As well as some news about Steven Yen. We'll continue this Invincible stuff with some stuff for the Thunderbolts that were just released, along with some other news that's just keep coming at you. We'll have more trivia, quizzes, interviews, whatever. We'll have random shit. We'll find stuff. Things come out. Things release. We'll watch them. We'll review them.
True.
But other than that, we hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me on the Sphere 21 on any social media platform except for TikTok. I'm Oliver Kahn, VA.
And you can find me at AM Warrior Photography. You can find this studio at Archangel Studios Official. And you can find this podcast at Nerd Locker Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. See you guys.
Bye.